Welcome in. You're tuning in to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day. This weekend was full of festivities for most of us. Taste of Cincinnati downtown, a goal fest in Canada, and a party on the show tonight. We, of course, will be taking a look back at the weekend that was, but in a special twist, we are bringing on some of our favorite U.S. men national team guests to talk about the big match in Cincinnati this week. We know TIFOs have been worked on. Plans are in the works for supporter groups and American Outlaws. We ourselves are just looking forward to taking this one in. Not the pressure of U.S.-Mexico. Not going to do a show down at Ryan House for this one. We're just going to sit back and enjoy the show a little bit more, as are you, I hope. It's a friendly. So let's keep things cool and friendly. Thanks for tuning in tonight and enjoying the show yourself. I'm Boston Brazel, and because a special match means we need to bring you a special cast, and we got ourselves some of the U.S. men's favorites tonight. We will start by welcoming in Jeremy Lance for this episode, our soccer guru international. He tried to sneak into one of the FCC training, the U.S. men's national team training sessions in Cincinnati, but Berhalter saw dad written all over him, threw him out.
He said, "I'm the only bald person here," and said, "You're out."
Oh, that's a good joke. I should have thought of that one first. Oh man,
we have reached our bald quota. Get out.
I originally had dad bod written down, but I was like, I don't want to offend him.
He might working on. Hey, listen, I've had to do a little bit of workout just to fit in the kit I'm currently wearing. This is from 2012. Like, I had to work to make sure that I could actually wear that this week. So, there's been some dad bod maintenance going on.
I've had the mirror moment. You ever had like the side? So like walking downtown is a scary thing for me nowadays. You walk downtown, you get that side view, like reflection back at you, and every once in a while you're like, "Oh, who's that? Who's that fat guy?"
No, the worst I had was when my wife was pregnant with our youngest. There's like an Easter photo, and like she had our youngest literally right after Easter, and there's a photo of me and her, and it's like, which one's pregnant? Like I was just like gut busting out of this like dress shirt I was wearing for Easter. I was like, oh, okay, we gotta get to work. We got stuff we got to do on this.
Oh man, you came for the U.S. men's national team talk, and we just end up talking about how to get in shape before the game. I think I'm out of time, but maybe for the next time they come to town, that'll be my goal.
There you go.
How about that?
Start working now.
All right. Well, now, of course, we will look back into Rob, who has his podcasting legs under him at this point. He can't even blame anything on being the new guy. Hey, Rob. Oh, wait. We got to bring you in here. Right, go ahead. Oh, shoot. I think Rob is muted. He'll have to unmute himself here if he wants to get in here.
Very smooth, right?
There it is.
Right.
Sorry, those podcast legs.
I was just going to say that I'm glad you got the dad bod talk out of the way, since I made a pig of myself at a Memorial Day picnic earlier.
Oh yeah,
got the camera strategically located from the chest up, so hopefully I'm covered, so to speak.
You're allowed an exemption for this weekend. This is the weekend of festivities. I think most of our listeners, we usually don't do a podcast on Memorial Day just because we know people are probably still out with family, and we expect a lot more people will be listening to the podcast on this one. But it's too important not to, with the U.S. men coming in. We'll introduce Brian when he gets in. He told us, "Hey, I'm going to be a little bit late," but
yeah, I was going to say, speaking of people being busy. Oh, hey, there he is.
Oh my goodness.
Right on cue.
Yeah, I know. Brian was he gets real excited for these. You know how you can tell if Brian's excited? He starts getting ready for the podcast a whole day in advance, which is very unlike the rest of us. Are you there, buddy?
7 a.m. rundown. Yeah, you know how.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, has he been up all night, or what are we doing here?
6 o'clock wake up call from Brody. That's for sure.
Oof. Oh, that's fine. I had a 4 a.m. wake up call from my girls throwing up in their bed, so that was cool. So fun times.
We're glad to have you. Better late than never, Bri. And we'll let you get situated with your beer and whatnot.
Oh, we're getting there. Yeah, I had plenty of beer tonight. It's Memorial Day. Had some good times at Brad's pool, drinking on his dime. So now I need some Swarex, and we'll get better.
There you go. Perfect lead in, of course. Cincinnati Soccer Talk is sponsored by Suero X, and they continue to roll out the products and bring out the flavor. So check out Suero X. It is powered 0 sugar. I get the ions wrong. Sometimes I say 8, sometimes I say 9, but either way, you're gonna be loving it up if you buy this stuff. It is pretty solid, and game over for Gatorade once I had this. So try it. Code CST over on their website will give you a discount. So we appreciate them for supporting local soccer as always. Let's lead into our best and worst. We have a United States men's national team to pick from. We've got the Montreal Thriller 4-3 to pick from. So we will start with you, Mr. Lance. Give me your best and worst.
My best is just, it was another match where they came up short, 2 in a row. But in both of them, the energy and just the vibe of this team still, I mean, we all saw it like last year and the year before when a loss would happen, when a match would start going the wrong direction. Like it would be just a bunch of hangdogs and everybody's just kind of walking. And you could feel on the field that team had lost any momentum and any belief in themselves. And they were just done. And that's non-existent now with this Pat Noonan side. They fight, they keep going. They have a good energy about them. And that is so great to hear and so great to see. Worst, we're getting into like the time of summer where I'm a hockey fan. Hockey's about over. And like now I have to go till the 18th for another match. Like this, what am I going to do with myself for like the next couple of weeks? Like this sucks.
Oh,
entertain me.
Not jump on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I think we're talking about taking at least the 2 weeks from now off, because without any games, it's well, what do you want to do? Unless there's some breaking player news or whatever, we could always do a special. But same boat. Wild. I don't know. Brian, give me your best and worst for the week.
Well, hopefully the best is going to be some player acquisition, some movement. Hearing some things, some shaking out players apparently at FC Cincinnati. So we'll see what happens here. But kind of to Jeremy's tune, my best is that the team's not out of it when we go down. It's just such an improvement over the past several years. Junior Moreno, as I've been banging that drum the past month and a half, I think has been one of our best players, if not one of the better signings in the history of MLS for FC Cincinnati, performing, keeping the team in, kind of our motivational leader, I guess I would say on the field. So love that we're addressing bringing in character guys to change the tune of the team. Worst, I guess the past 2 weeks, whether it's a scissor kick or the penalties in the box, the breaks didn't go our way. I think we've played well enough to win both games. Just unfortunately, whether again those unfortunate incidents or a ref withholding a whistle, just those things didn't break for FC Cincinnati, and those are things that have gone our way this season. So outside of Ian Murphy not tracking balls in the aerial balls, I think we're in games, and I think the positives are happening for FC Cincinnati with reinforcements coming in, hopefully.
Next window, something solid would be nice.
Several something solids.
Yeah.
Several. Has to be
several. It's awesome. That's his first brace in Major League Soccer, right? And it's good to see his work pay off.
The DC United guys, the United refugees, were saying like every shot he takes goes 20 yards over the top of the box. So he's big improvement on a couple of those goals.
I call that
lowered it.
I call that kicking a foul.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
All right, Rob, we'll bring you in. Best and worst on the week.
Best for me is a set piece goal to open the scoring. With the style that this team plays, with the pressing / chasing they do, that's not always going to create a lot of goals from open play, but it should create a good number of set pieces. So obviously for the team to be successful, they're going to have to convert some of those. And I thought they had a really nice set up on the one with Barriel sending it in, Vasquez getting the header, and then Junior Moreno finishing. The bad thing is it turned right around and gave up a set piece goal then, and frankly, the defending overall wasn't great on Saturday, but you want to defend really well on those set pieces because that ends up being, if you're even with a lot of these opponents, that ends up being a difference maker. And I thought that first goal, particularly that they gave up, was kind of amateurish.
Yeah, for me, felt the subbing pattern was back to an improved state. It was nice to see subs compared to the last game have some meaning. Especially really liked the when you're down. What is it? 2 goals, I think at the time. Bringing Brenner on for Nelson was just a great move in my opinion. And I complained last week about not having Brenner available. Wasn't sure if that was the right move. I was heavily outvoted on this podcast, but it was good to see him in, and you saw the difference he immediately had an assist in this match, and unfortunately couldn't get his feet on the end of a game tying goal. But when you score 3 goals, you should at least have a draw. So it got a little crazy there with Montreal getting some wacky, weird goals. That kind of leads into my worst. The 3-on-1 failure. Shoot. I don't know how you have 3 defenders, a goalie and 2 defenders and on one guy. Even with his break, Powell caught up to him, kicked that ball away, and it didn't really go too far away, and collides on the ground, trying not to get a handball. Just pure chaos there with Celentano grabbing the ball, then not grabbing the ball, and then it's just a tap-in goal when there were 3 people in position to theoretically stop that. So
that had shades of 2019 FC Cincinnati all over it. I had some flashbacks there. I was a little PSD from watching that one.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. Like it's making the highlight rounds. Like people that have never seen an MLS game are like, "Oh, this is MLS."
Oh yeah, that's making that real.
But none of that would have happened if the ref would have actually, blown the whistle.
Yeah, you're right.
Helps.
Well, he called an advantage, and FCC was not wanting to play that advantage, so Acosta slowed down, and the whole thing was just crazy. But regardless, even though the whistle was never blown, that is a terrible goal to give up, and it's my worst on the week by far. I agree, remnants of the old FC Cincinnati, but luckily that doesn't happen too much, and I think every team has horror moments every now and then, so maybe that's ours for 2022, and we can move on until 2023. Have no more of those. Get in touch with us, though. You can tweet us at Cincinnati Soccer Talk or email us at feedback@Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Give us your best and worst. I see a couple here in the chat. Joseph's best is the ability to still play a full 90 and fight and play professionally. Echoing some of our sentiments there. Worst, defense and depth. Depth, of course. Hitting this team, not as bad as it was a few weeks ago, but still, Brian's point, team needs to bring in some more pieces to make it up to par for a fifth place team like we were once upon a time.
We're 6th place with arguably probably the bottom 20 talent. So guys are playing with their hearts. Lord and Savior Pat Noonan's doing his best. So we'll see what goes, but there's a lot to be hopeful for.
All right. Well, our show is by and large supported by fans. We get sponsors, but the legwork is done by all of you. And we want to thank those that have already signed up on Patreon to support Cincinnati Soccer Talk. You guys keep it free for everybody else. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're going on our website, it is taken care of. The bills are paid for by these few select people. So we like to give them a shout out each and every week. Ray Lee, John Davidson, Mike Hudson, Robert Stevens, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gills, Dan Alberts, Will Kychek, Ian Rexroad, Augustus Caceres, Bill Antonitis, Carl Feit, Jeremy Schrand, Kyle Pohl, Christina Sharma, Rupesh, Tom Beaversdorf, Jason, who is super average, John Haskell, Ryan Ernst, Mary Lou, West Anastasi, Rob Pierce, Clifford Adams, Thomas Stepp, Pierce Johnson, Mike Parentis, Mr. and Mrs. Wiederhold, Rob Gaselli, Bradley Weigel, Kevin Day, Jamie Smed, Alex Carnegus, Mike Bowman, Patrick Lahani, Dave Tingler, Brett Sova, Chris Hubbard, Kevin Cooney, Joe Max, Jack Emery, Sarah Gorman, David Moore, Bob Ryan, Ryan Durkin, Bart Labita, and Mark Newenschwerner. Thank you all for supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk and keeping the ball rolling here. You can, of course, jump on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support and join, or find us somehow on the wide world of Patreon.
If you can't support financially, we appreciate all of our loving supporters. Thank you so much. A simple rate and review on iTunes would mean the world to us right now.
It's been a long time since we plugged that.
Yeah, so thank
you. An honest
so
5-star review.
Honest. Hey, the Ginger Boys stink, but Boston razzle dazzle brazzles the legend. 5 stars for Boston. Completely with it.
Just rate your favorite host. That's all you need to do.
Robert Ziegler, 10s.
Oh man, I'm excited about this next one. Brian, I'll let you do the intro.
My man.
This is your guy.
Yes, Adnan. How you doing, my man? We got
hey guys.
The famous Adnan Ilyas from Stars and Stripes FC. Got even a little ticker down here for you, pal. Welcome back to the show. Adnan joined us in the preview to USA versus Mexico. He joined us at our live show previewing the Dos a Cero win, my man. Lucky Adnan. How you doing, my man?
Hey guys, glad to be back.
We're so happy to have you, pal. How have you been? And tell us what you're doing right now with Stars and Stripes.
I've been all right. Trying to get through some analysis of all the World Cup qualifying and procrastinating a little on it, but hopefully we've got some good games coming up.
We're very excited. I guess to kick us off here a little bit, tell us what are you most excited to see out of these? I guess not only 2 friendlies in Nations League. What excites you the most of these next 4 matches?
Yeah, Morocco's an actual World Cup team. They're going to be there. I want to see how the U.S. actually does. We've seen the U.S. play against Mexico, and we played well against them. I want to see the U.S. play well against someone else who isn't named Mexico. And maybe that spells good things come November.
Okay, so you mentioned Morocco a little bit here. Can you kind of preview what they bring? Why should USA fans be excited about some people might say like a second-rate national team? I mean, they're still top 20 in the world.
I think they're just a little shy of that, like 24th or something. But looking at them on paper, you look at their players, they're spread out all across Europe in their top leagues and stuff like that. Like they've got a player at Paris Saint-Germain, someone at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Actually, Morocco kind of reminds me of a little bit about the U.S. They've got a bunch of these players who are dual nationals or foreign-born players who they recruited and pulled in, and they've got this big mix of cultures and stuff like that. So looking at actual Morocco on paper, it's a little hard to say exactly how good they are compared to the rest of the world, because for the last year and a half or more, they've just been playing against African teams. So you've got World Cup qualifiers, you've got the Africa Cup of Nations, and they kind of breezed through World Cup qualifying, and then they had a playoff game against the Democratic Republic of Congo. I always forget there's 2 Congos. So they crushed them. That was the weakest team they could have gotten. In Africa Cup of Nations, they did fine, and then kind of whimpered to an end against Mo Salah in Egypt, who, everyone else has this awful qualifying thing in Africa, and that got Egypt this time. But Morocco got through. So these guys are actually quite experienced. They were there at the World Cup 4 years ago in 2018. They didn't do so hot. I think they finished last in their group, but a bunch of their young players are back, and they're going to be back for a second shot to try and do better. So here we've got a bunch of guys, like I said, playing at clubs like PSG. That's Ashraf Hakimi in particular, their right back. He just moved it from Inter Milan this year, and we won Ligue 1 this year. Last year he won the Scudetto in Italy. This guy's got a crazy CV. Before that he was at Borussia Dortmund, and then before that Real Madrid. You've got guys like Yassine Bono, who's actually a Canadian Moroccan, funnily enough. He's star keeper for Sevilla in Spain. Same kind of a deal with England, Wolverhampton Wanderers guy, Romain Saiss. Rock solid in defense. They're one of the best defensive teams in England. So, it's on paper, people don't necessarily know Morocco is a big team, but it's a lot of talent actually on the squad.
I'm arguably the least educated Cincinnati soccer talker of international soccer. That's why I have the rest of these guys who know who people are and pay attention to the leagues overseas and how everybody's doing. Especially like when a new player comes here, I turn to these guys and I go, "Who is this guy?" And they're like, "How do you not know? He plays in this Turkish league." And I'm like, "How does anybody know what's going on?" But so when I heard United States men were playing Morocco, my first instinct was, is this a valid opponent? Because this is no longer the friendly where you just play these cushy whatever games to get a little bit of training time and familiarize yourself. This is now World Cup prep. And so I saw some stuff on, some people were happy with it online, some people were a little disappointed, but I just want to know your take. Is Morocco the correct opponent at this stage?
I actually really like this match for the U.S. Like, Morocco reminds me way back in, 2014, you had Germany win the World Cup, right? Germany in the round of 16, they played against Algeria. That Algeria team feels a bit like this Morocco team. They had a bunch of players who were, especially in France, but elsewhere around Europe, who came in and gave Germany an absolute dogfight and almost took them out. That Germany team won. I think they beat Brazil 7-2. Later on, they won the whole thing. You never really know with African teams, especially. But like, this is a World Cup team. They're good enough to be at the World Cup. If the U.S. beats them and maybe picks up one more point, if the U.S. beats someone like Morocco come November, December, and gets one more point, we're probably through to the knockout stages. And that's a really nice sign for me. I'd like to be able to see that in a tune-up match.
I kind of like the storylines as well. Canada playing Iran, we're playing Iran in the World Cup. They're playing Morocco in the World Cup. So, scouting reports and all that fun stuff. So coming out of qualifying, going back to the United States team, it seemed like there was a lot of spots like on lockdown. Midfield 3, Musa, McKennie, Adams. Then McKennie got injured. And then Dest, right back, lockdown, great Barcelona player. He's had injury history. Miles Robinson, starting center back, out. Who maybe in this four game segment stands out to you as a guy that has like maybe the most to gain out of these matches?
Easy answer, Matt Turner.
Yeah.
Stefan's not there this time, and frankly, Stefan's been kind of he's been in and out because of injury and COVID and stuff. But a lot of people love to point out that Turner's the big shot stopper, and Stefan's supposed to be the one good at his feet. And I think it's a little unfair. They're both quite good shot stoppers. For me, the real thing is who's got better command of the box. Matt Turner, sometimes waivers. Stefan, I think if he gets game time, he can be quite good. But he's not getting game time right now. So this is a big chance to show that Matt Turner, he's moving to Arsenal. He's got to show up big with his feet, with his command of the box, with those really big Premier League center backs and strikers. He's got to be cool, calm, and able to grab the ball from out there. So, if he can do it now, that gives a lot of faith that he'll be able to do it in 6 months.
So we obviously the roster comes out and there's always the freak out of who didn't get on. Obviously, everybody here was freaking out about just everybody on FC Cincinnati not getting on, which is always fun to see. For you, what were the actual names that you were thinking you were going to see and they weren't there?
Brandon Vasquez.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my.
That's not so much a shock. It feels a little too soon for Vasquez, but I wanted him on there. I think he can maybe, he's got a shot. The big surprise, but not at all a shock, was John Brooks, actually. I thought he might be able to get in for this one. Like, this is the easy way to kind of bring him back into the fold. But I guess that kind of makes it clear there's a beef there and it's not settled. But honestly, like, my biggest pet peeve is coaches who rag on their players. Like, that's a big red flag for me. And so, he wants to be a little coy about it and play these games and say, oh yeah, it's because he's moving to clubs, whatever. Fine. I'd rather have that than him rag about a player. Aside from that, I was really looking forward to maybe seeing Paxton Palmacle. He's been pretty hot with FC Dallas. And I would really like to see someone else get a shot at that midfield role. And Jordi Mihailovic and Christian Roldan don't quite do for me the same way that McKennie and Yunus Musa do it.
And that was kind of the disappointment today, the news that Mihailovic isn't going to be with the team now after getting injured against FCC.
Oh,
I mean, it's rough for him. He'll hopefully get some more chances, but honestly, the way that the team's kind of constructed, I feel like his competition's Pulisic and Weah and Reyna and Brendan Aronson, and that's a really tough field to get into.
Sure.
Now, there's a lot of say a lot of new guys. There's some interesting uncapped guys on this roster. You have defender Joe Scally, who's probably going to play. He plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. You have maybe the guy who competed for Brendan Vasquez for that forward spot, and Haji Wright, who's an off the radar guy who's just come on a tear out in Turkey. And then who knew this guy 2 weeks ago, much less 2 months ago, Malik Tillman of Bayern Munich too. So do you think we're going to see these guys? How are they going to impact, maybe the roster going into the winter?
So I've got this big, huge master list of everyone that Berhalter's ever played. Berhalter actually loves to just throw, especially young kids, but new players onto the field. He's got like 50 players from, not so much during World Cup qualifying, but like the lower stakes matches, the Gold Cups, the friendlies, etc. He'll take a young guy or a new guy and just put him on the field. I think all three of these guys get some playing time, probably against either Granada or I think it's El Salvador is the fourth game for the Nations League. Right. The Morocco and Uruguay games feel like those are the big ones where we want to see the starting 11. Really, what can the full national team do? And then, kind of figure out who's the depth, who's kind of working their way into the team and that sort of thing. So, on the other hand, though, you've got McKennie coming off of an injury. Maybe we still see Tillman. Let's see who Berhalter gives a shot to.
Yeah, I really like that this match is in Cincinnati, and it means something for a friendly. Sometimes you get friendlies that are meh, but at the same time, if you are in the Cincinnati region or Indianapolis or Lexington or Louisville or wherever you're listening to this show at, and can make it to Cincinnati for this match, don't let the word friendly scare you. And I just kind of wanted to ask you about that. Just why does it matter? Even though it's a friendly, and should fans take advantage of the opportunity of the national team being here in our area? I
mean, the national team doesn't come by. Well, I guess now they do come by kind of often.
but there's no guarantee that lasts forever.
No guarantee. And I mean, we had the World Cup qualifier against Mexico, right? That's not coming back that's not coming back anywhere until at least after 2026. So these friendlies are, for the most part, the only matches we're going to get at home until now, from now until, next summer when we get the Gold Cup again. So it's friendlies, see what the team looks like. The players want to take it into these games, because if they're, they don't have their air game, they're not going to be on the plane to Qatar. And that's what everyone wants. So the players are going to take this seriously. The players on the other team are going to take this seriously because they're in the exact same boat. So both teams are going to be out there really trying their best. It's going to be a good showcase.
What's the vibe check on what the coaches are kind of prepping this as? With the weird calendar of this not being we're still we have a bit of a ways to go to the actual World Cup itself. So it's not like it's those friendlies right beforehand, that little group of games they do right before they send off. This is a while Till then, what are they? How are they going to view this? Is this going to be just kind of? Are they going to give guys a shot to prove their chance?
I'm not sure with Morocco. They've got 2 games. They've got a qualifying thing for the Africa Cup of Nations, their continental tournament, right after this. So they might go ahead and look at it like, the U.S. is a real serious game because that's the kind of team we're going to play in November, December. And, they might look at the U.S. and say, that's like Canada. Let's really, see what we can do, see what we've got here. But they might also kind of put the brakes on and say, hey, those other games are more important. I'm not sure on that standpoint, but Berhalter's already come out and said the U.S. is going to come in here, and for these 2 games, we're going to treat it like it's a really important match. So we're probably going to see the starters, at least against Mexico or against Morocco and Uruguay. Those are pretty decent teams. Against the Nations League opponents, I think he's going to slow things down a little bit, let some new guys try to experiment a little, more about building reps, more about trying out new faces against, I think it was Grenada and El Salvador. So I think that's kind of the dichotomy here. The friendlies, the non-competitive games are the big, tough ones to watch, and the competitive ones are kind of like trying the new faces.
Of course, that also kind of plays into the way the schedule is now. There's only the window in September. Because of the UEFA Nations League, we're not going to be able to play European top teams. Then it'll probably be Asian teams, I think they've said, that'll come over to Europe and play our team. And then the club season is going to break off pretty close to the beginning of the World Cup finals. So there's probably not even room for one friendly in there. So, this ends up being these two games with Morocco and Uruguay. I mean, that's going to be really one of the last chances to get the whole, as much of the first team as is healthy together on the field at one time.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to play 2 European sides. We have to see about the final playoff game for that 4th slot. But we've got England. We've probably got someone else from Europe as well, maybe Wales, maybe Ukraine. But in that standpoint, not having someone from UEFA kind of hurts us a little bit, but it also hurts UEFA teams a lot because they don't know what to expect with the other countries. And again, there are teams that come out there who are from CONCACAF, who are from Africa, from Asia, and they just kind of barrel over these European teams who have these nice, pristine fields, who have, high quality refs, who don't know what getting CONCACAF feels like. We've seen it time and again. Costa Rica did it in 2014. The U.S. has done it a couple of times. You've seen it with African teams. Hell, you go back 1966, North Korea beat Italy. It's just history. So looking at it, it hurts the UEFA teams a lot, I think, because everyone knows what they're like and they're viewed as the top dogs. But everyone, on the other hand, the U.S. gets a chance to field against some of these other teams. You look at Morocco in particular. Morocco is based with all these players from Spain, from France, from Germany, and not just they play there, but they grew up there. So they've got that Spanish, that French, that German soccer kind of cultivated in them a little bit. So from that standpoint, it's a pretty good matchup. You get to feel of both different regions of the world, but also a little bit of Europe as well.
And then when you mentioned World Cup upsets, you forgot 1950 when Sylvester Stallone led the U.S. over England.
How could I? That game's legendary. Let's see if we can get that to happen again on Black Friday.
Awesome. Yeah, we're super excited about this game, and I guess kind of how the guys will put their best foot forward, because there's not many opportunities in this in Uruguay. I think you're going to see a lot of, kind of almost like a World Cup dry run, maybe, best when you look at the best players. I think they said Dempsey played all of the last 15 minutes of his last 8 World Cup matches. Donovan's 30 minutes of his last 12. I think you're just going to see Pulisic and all these guys come out full bore for these matches, and it's the fringe guys that we're going to see maybe win a role here or there.
Hey, I mean, we saw it last time the U.S. was in TQL, right? Last 20 minutes or so, Pulisic comes on, first touch, goal. Yeah. Later, McKennie, goal, 2 goals at the end. Exactly right.
we're like half a month, 16-ish days away from finding out who the World Cup cities are. So I know this is a little bit outside of the scope of this game, but real quick, just wanted to get your quick opinion. There's a lot of national pundits crapping all over Cincinnati and Paul Brown Stadium, so I just wanted to see if you have hope 16 days before.
Man, I have been saying Cincinnati's in for the last like 6 years.
Let's go. Yes.
There we go.
We're solid in.
Nice. Yeah, I liked an article I saw recently that was like it's because it's between Kansas City and Cincinnati, really, and just describing that whole mix.
I kind of feel like we're gonna get both Kansas City and Cincinnati. You know?
Oh yeah, that covers the whole middle of the country. You can't count Nashville as a real city, so
no, it's not.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on. There are some pregame events for this match. I think there's a night before party at the pitch, if I'm correct.
Yes, correct.
6 p.m. ish. Those night before parties are fun. I've been to one of them. So I advise if you are sitting around the night before going.
There's always one, special guest that US Soccer kind of arranges.
Did I ever say about my story about getting Jermaine Jones into the private area last time?
Did you like slip somebody a 20 or something?
The security guard's like, no, we're not letting anybody in. I'm like, you don't realize who this is. He goes, I don't really care. I'm like, if Ken Griffey Jr. was staying in front of you, would you let him go upstairs? He goes, yeah. I'm like, that's Ken Griffey Jr. Let him go.
It reminds me of the time we couldn't get Rose Lavelle in the Bailey because the Bailey guard kept turning her away. So we had to smuggle Rose
Did she
Lavelle
get one of those yellow card things saying that she...
We had to smuggle her into the section because the guys are so strict about the wrist. It was the wristband era, so she didn't have a wristband.
God love it.
Wow. Gotta love security. So there'll be some celebrity, air quotes. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a real celebrity. At that event at the pitch, generally speaking, there's always somebody that they arrange to have show up and make an appearance.
Awesome. And then the pregame party the day of is at Northern Row at 2 p.m. I think that's the AO official one. And then I'm sure all the other Cincinnati-based groups, if you are a member of any of them, will be at their normal spot. Pride, of course, at Northern Row. But check in on your local supporter group if they're going to be somewhere different, of course. Well, Adnan, we thank you for coming in. Do you have anything else you want to share with us? Or
where can we find you?
Yeah.
You can find me at Stars and Stripes FC. I will be covering the game.
All right. We appreciate you again coming on Cincinnati Soccer. You are one of our go-tos for U.S. men's national team, especially because no one wants to hear me talk about it for 20 minutes.
Truth.
Happy to be here, guys, as always.
Thanks, bud.
All right. We thank Adnan for coming on here again. Brian, good work setting up that interview.
Dude, he's great. He check out his stuff. Stars and Stripes FC is a great outlet for U.S. men's national team and women's national team coverage. Honestly, they had some great stuff this past week about the new, I would say the new collective bargaining agreement, but the new wage scale for the U.S. men and women and equal wage. So please go check that out. I think they're an extremely important outlet for fans to get the nitty gritty on what's going on in U.S. soccer. So check them out. And Adnan, he's my man. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yep, appreciate him coming on. I forgot to totally bring up. This is going to be the first match I sit in the up deck, the top deck. I'm pretty excited about this.
Oh, what a coincidence! This is my first time sitting in the Tunnel Club.
Dude, you shelled out.
What a segue there, Boston.
Yeah. Are you just bragging that you're in the Tunnel Club, everybody?
This is why you become a U.S. soccer insider, because you get first dibs on seats. No, I'm excited now. I can't wait to take little Bri down there for the price. I found like two, what do they call it? The dynamic pricing for this match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I randomly logged on and I saw two of those Tunnel Club seats in a good, I would say you would call it the 30, quote unquote, 30-yard line.
Yeah.
And I found two seats. I'm like, those don't look like those should be that price. So snatched him up, and little Brian Jr. and I are going to go down, get down there early, hopefully get a pick with some cool U.S. soccer player or whatever. But yeah, I can't say I've been counting down this day for a month. Take my little guy down there and see the team and have just a once in a lifetime experience. So it is kind of what Adnan said, is you never know when they're going to come back. And if you have the ability, I know it's not cheap. Like if I want to sit in my normal seats, it was like $98 after fees.
Yeah.
But
we really don't know if these guys are going to come back, because you got Nashville coming on, you got St. Louis coming on. Who knows who?
Oh yeah, St. Louis will get several matches.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're just plugging these stadiums in now. So you're right.
Yeah, Miami FC, they're coming on. They have Fort Lauderdale, but they got their stadium approved. So we literally may not have this opportunity hardcore again. So.
Now you guys are talking about your seat movement. So I normally sit in the 4th row, and these tickets are in the 7th row. So please spare a prayer for me.
3 rows back. You might actually have a better seat.
Probably.
I purposely sit in the 11th row at TQL Stadium, but that's just because I don't want to be in the tunnel traffic where I sit. Everybody comes out at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
If you sit in the first 5 rows, then you're just constantly, people are walking by you all the time. So yeah, it's different. I am excited about going up top only because it's totally new, and I know the views are going to be fine, but I've heard really good things about that second deck above the First Financial Club, so it'd be cool to get a different view. I'm purposely sitting right above where my normal seats are. So
are you
get an aerial experience of what I normally would get?
I'll
report back.
You and John are going to be right next to each other, I think, because didn't he look down on you or something like that?
Yeah, he constantly yells at me during games. He yells over the rail, and every single person in the area is like, why does this continue to happen, where these two idiot podcasters yell at each other in the middle at the 30th minute of a match?
You just can't take the Bailey out of you guys.
It's always something dumb too. It's like, hey,
I want to make a joke that there's a meaningful game in TQL Stadium in early June for the first time ever.
Oh, ouch!
But there hopefully should be more of those this year, right, Robert?
The next one will be the next FCC home game. They've put themselves in a position where games are still relevant, and there's just so much to see with this team as to what's actually gonna happen over the next 4 or 5 months. And I mean, it's so that'll be meaningful, and then the next FCC game will be meaningful.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to, Rob, in this one though? Are you going to the match, or are you going to look at them or stay home and watch the match? I know you're a bit further than the rest of us.
I am further, and I've been to so many USA games in my lifetime. We'll watch this one on television, but that midfield, I think Brian mentioned it before, with Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and I figure I'm drawing a blank here, Yunus Musa. I'm hoping they all start in this game, if, as Adnan said, that's those 2 games, Morocco and then the next one, Uruguay, are going to be the ones where he tries to get his top choice players out. And that's the best part of this U.S. men's national team, in my mind, is the midfield, the talent that he has there. And those 3 guys working together, that's going to be the key for them to have any success in the World Cup coming up. So I want to see. It's been a while since they've played together. McKennie's been injured, and so is Yunus, for that matter. So I want to see how they do together.
I kind of want to chime in on that. That kind of like FC Cincinnati with OB and Junior coming on, is when they receive the ball from the center backs or defenders and move the ball, they're capable of moving the ball forward on the turn. And that's where McKennie and Adams, those guys are very successful in doing that. And now if we have to bring in Luca De La Torre, who else knows who we're going to have to fill those 8 roles? They're talking about a 3 center back pairing. I just, versus good talent in Morocco and Uruguay, I want our midfield to be able to get the ball forward and start creating, which FC Cincinnati has actually done pretty well this year. I want the U.S. to be able to do that and not to pass back and put our defenders in a bad situation like what we saw with 2021 FC Cincinnati. So there's a lot of things I want to see, okay, maybe 2022 U.S. men can look like 2022 FC Cincinnati a little bit.
Brian, did you have a chance to talk to Zach over at AO?
Yeah. So of course I think our AO Cincy is check out their Facebook page and everything. I think they're one of the best American Outlaws chapters, if not the best.
High praise.
But they truly are. Like, I mean, they make the guys. Columbus is a great group, but I think our group in Cincinnati has made a great respect. They do a wonderful job. So again, kind of what you said earlier. Tuesday night AO night before party at the pitch. Just across the street from the stadium. Wednesday, AO tailgate, quote unquote tailgate at Northern Row starting at 2. From what Zach and those guys told me is that this is going to feel more uniquely Cincinnati, I guess you could say, than maybe previous matches, more like, I guess, the women's games. So I'm excited to see what the TIFO is going to look like.
Did they get that thing painted? I know they had a rain delay once.
Oh, did they really? Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we can get the rigging to actually work this time versus people ripping it. But
no, I think I get what you're saying though, because like for USA Mexico, I mean everybody that's an AO from all across the US is going to try to make it to that match. So it was definitely more of a national base, and it was a lot more people coming in from out of town. So this will definitely have more of a local or Midwest vibe to it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I had to put 2 of my tickets up for sale for the US Mexico game, and somebody in Texas bought them and drove all the way here.
They drove.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've seen the price of airplane getting object.
In November, it was fine. I booked a bunch of flights then.
Yeah.
US Soccer was very impressed with the Mexico game. So we have, in a way, I'm slightly scared because we have a big reputation to uphold now, and we're going to be compared to the Columbuses, and we're going to be compared to Nashville. Just recently had a game.
We should though.
Yeah,
we should. I mean, we need to sell out this game. I don't think, like, I want to say these friendlies don't mean a ton in the whole scheme of
who
US
gets stuff.
Well, World Cup matches and stuff. I don't know. Like, part of me wants to say, yeah, if we sell out the game, it'll help our World Cup bid. But part of me,
that's already been decided.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. But also,
the ink's already dry on whatever decision was made.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt that we still perform well and sell and make money for.
As far as US continuing to come back to Cincinnati, yes,
for important games,
absolutely, yeah.
Because this is one of the top 2 or 3 games in 2022 this year. Very important. Yep. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how they do. I hope we have a good crowd. It's Wednesday, and I think there's a lot of people that kind of look and see how the weather's going to be for this match and if it's going to rain or not. But
is it?
Potentially, but it doesn't matter. Unlike Columbus, our roofs work.
Well,
that's right. I remember that. No. I remember that. That's
a while ago, though. I saw
USA Mexico going like this. It's just a little.
I saw people. It's funny is I think your complaint must have been heard by somebody on the show because immediately I saw people on the roof working on the roof.
I heard someone was it for the New England match mentioned that like their area that they sit in that normally does have that issue didn't.
Yeah,
there had been some maintenance.
One day I was walking by the stadium and I just saw a bunch of people on the roof. So we might be all patched up.
There you go. Got the duct tape out.
Yeah. Right. Honestly, before we jump into to us back again, like I'm excited to see new players coming from the U.S. Malik. I really want to see what he can bring. He's kind of a fringe Bayern Munich player. I think his brother plays for Goofer Firth or whatever, Julian Green's team. So hey, maybe we can bring a brother too. I'm just excited to kind of see the guys and how we progress. There's talk, I think this past year, 2021, 2022, people were excited with, can Pulisic take the next jump? Can Tyler Adams take the next jump? And while I think they did well with their national team, their club form hasn't necessarily been there. Like there's talking about Tyler Adams moving. There's talk about Pulisic moving.
Pulisic sounds like he's definitely a man looking to move.
Yeah. I don't think Tuchel thinks as highly of Christian as he should. I don't know. But I just want these guys to kind of come in here, support them, give them good vibes. They're going to have, a couple weeks off before they get back into their training with their new clubs or their current clubs. But if we can put some good results on the board, build confidence going into the World Cup, I'm all for it. I guess the part that makes me so nervous is, can we create chances? Is going to be Jesus Ferreira going up top, and who's going to be that guy that unlocks the U.S. offense?
They got here earlier than I thought. Like, they were here, beginning of the week, last week?
Jedi Robinson threw out the first pitch this weekend.
And did a backflip, which I'm sure Greg Berhalter probably had a mini heart attack when he saw that.
Is there video of this?
With all the injuries that they have going on.
Yeah.
Doing a backflip next to a pitching mound, maybe not the best thing we need to be doing right now.
How I figured out they were in town is somebody immediately, like the very first night they were in, already had posted what hotel they were staying at on the Facebook page. I was like, this isn't creepy at all.
Which is?
I don't remember. I just remember being like, this is weird.
Fail.
I think it's the Red Roof Inn, wasn't it, up in Loveland? Yeah.
Rob.
U.S. soccer budget. No, they got someplace nice. But, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to share it anyway. Well, leave those guys alone. Let them train.
Are they making them stay out in, like, Milford, like, near the training facility? I wonder if they do
I
that.
Think they were downtown.
Okay. It's funny. So I covered the tennis tournament. I did for years. And, like, all the tennis stars would like stay. A lot of them would just stay in Mason. And so like the Applebee's in Mason, you would go in there and like, like all these like top tennis players are like hanging out at Applebee's because they are just in Mason and their hotel's across the street. So like, yeah, I guess I'll just hang out here.
God, I thought they go to putters at the Grizz.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I was walking around Taste of Cincinnati today and I was kind of hoping like one of them got out there just to be like, what's going on 5th Street? That'd be cool.
Just a gong show is what's going on.
Grab like some, like a random banana pudding from some Cincinnati establishment.
Hey, all it is we're lucky again. We've had hell of a run with US and FC Cincinnati and soccer in the city. So I don't want to take it for granted.
Here's the question: when are we getting an All-Star game?
Soon.
It's got to be soon, right? I mean, they're kind of going slowly through all the newer stadiums, right?
Yeah. So Minnesota, I thought the rumor was next year they were going to do St. Louis, but I can't.
If they skip us, that's it. Going to St. Louis skips us.
Someone's getting punched in the neck if that's happening.
Can't be skipping us for Jeff Berging's coming for you.
I don't know how. Do you think an All-Star game here would sell well?
Yes.
You do?
Well, I mean, we'd actually have to have somebody on the roster. That would help.
Yeah.
It also the format would also, I mean, I feel like that's still a very fluid situation of what the format would be. Is it going to be this whole USA versus Mexico thing? MLS versus Liga MX thing? Do they bail out of that and bring in a big name team from Europe? I don't know. I think both ways it could sell. Especially if it is like a Liga MX all-star team. Like, I think that is well, I guess we had the Mexico match, but otherwise like an untapped thing of like, do a friendly or do something against a team from that league and just see just all of the Mexican soccer supporters just regionally flock to that. So it'll sell. It'll be great.
Last summer, that was pretty decent, actually. That was one of the better all-star games, I thought, when they played that team, and Ricardo Pepi scored the goal, right, which was made it better. But I've been to other All-Star games, to be honest, that were yawners and all. So
yeah,
hopefully it'll be fun just for the occasion of it. But definitely you want to have USMNT friendlies before MLS All-Star games.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it does come here, it needs to matter in some way to the average Cincinnati, and I think otherwise you got to fill like you were talking about filling it with the other countries' fans. We could theoretically do that, but
you're gonna need that regardless of what market you're in. You're gonna have the opponent has to be a draw as well.
Yeah. So Cincinnati, we're fickle. We want something to matter to us before we sign up and pay money for it. I think this USA game is selling slightly worse than the Mexico game because I don't think I think the word friendly scares us as a native.
Well, and it's a Morocco side that the average MLS fan or FC Cincinnati fan that doesn't maybe watch the European game as much they're just not going to be able to just rattle off any name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mainly European-based players, and for the most part, you're not even talking about a whole lot of players that play in, like the Premier League or something like that has more exposure over here.
We'll combine your final thoughts with what are you doing for the next 2 weeks? Because there is a lack of soccer, and we have the U.S. I wish we have the U.S. Morocco game in just a couple days, and then it is drought while we are in an international break. So I guess I'll start with you, Bri.
So I'm going out of the country, and
Well timed.
Very well timed. And I did look to see in that country how close I am to the pro side. And unfortunately, it's like a 2.5 hour drive. And I was devastated because I'm actually in a pretty close metropolitan
area. Are you in
a
country with a train? Just get on a train.
What?
No.
Why are you not saying where you're going? Is someone going to stalk you? Like,
well, you never know. You
is
never
it North
know.
Korea?
It is North Korea.
Are you on an assignment for the U.S.?
Yeah, they canceled their league due to COVID, Robert. Thank you very much.
He's going to Russia.
Going to Russia. Oh, God.
You said it.
What a bad guy.
You did say it. No, I'm going to Jamaica, and
Okay.
I definitely did look at the closest team. And there was one professional club like within 45 minutes where I was going to be, and they're on the complete opposite side.
What about the national team? You are going to national team season, no?
No, there's no. They didn't come close to making the what do you call it? The World Cup. So yeah. No, I'm excited. I think maybe checking out FCC 2 if I can. I think they're going to be in town like the 11th or something like that. So that might be the closest option to check out some local soccer. But honestly, recharging my batteries a little bit. Can't wait to take little Brian down to that game. I can't tell you how much that means. And, I got to take him. Brad was like, how cool was that you got to take Brian to see Top Gun this past weekend? I'm like, that was baller. And now we could take him to like U.S. soccer too. Like he's gonna remember that. And
so
that's
what
a
banner 5 days right there.
It truly is. So, but like that's what I'm most excited for. Is like, yeah, I'm excited to see the team, but I'm most excited to take him and grow his love of the game.
Very cool. If the bus stops in the middle of your drive in Jamaica, don't get off. Don't get off unless you want to buy drugs, because that happened to me last time I was there.
Did it really?
How were the drugs?
Can I take notes? Can I take notes? It's my wife's and I's 10th anniversary on this trip as well, so good luck with that, right?
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
No.
All right, Mr. Lance, how do you survive?
Luckily, there's still 2 more rounds of hockey to watch, so I'll be watching NHL playoffs. I will not be watching the NBA, and
nobody else is either.
I'll be working a ton. Actually, I have to travel a bunch for work in the next couple of weeks, so I'll definitely be busy. I won't have the downtime I would like to have to do some battery recharging. I'll be doing none of that.
Going to actual Gotham?
No, going to the great Gothams of Indianapolis, Columbus, Louisville, Kentucky, Dayton, Ohio. Beautiful vacation city that is.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'll be in all those parts, just driving like a madman, just enjoying these great gas prices. So good times.
If you're in Dayton at the right time, there might be a fountain in the river that shoots out, but it's usually broken. So
okay.
All right, Rob.
Yeah. So this break for FCC coincides with the end of the Liverpool season. I'm a big Liverpool fan, so we're taking a little bit of a break from soccer. Like Jeremy, I'm a big hockey fan, so I'll be watching some Stanley Cup playoffs, and otherwise just nose to the grindstone, helping provide health care to the fine people of Indiana, and look forward to those national team games as well, not just the one in Cincinnati, but the match with Uruguay, and then the Nations League game. I think it's 4 matches on 4 different streaming services, so I'll have to make sure I get that right.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your work, all of you. Podcasting, writing, check out CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. We will keep you updated, even though there is a break, if there's any breaking news. So keep your eyes peeled there. Of course, if there is enough content coming out of the club side, we will put together something here audio-wise for you. If not, if the front office is real quiet and all crickets, then there may theoretically not be a show next week. There probably will not be one in 2 weeks, but that is all dependent on what happens in this wacky soccer world we live in with rumors and etc. So it could just be Brian messages me out of the blue on Thursday and says, hey, this guy might join Cincinnati. We should do a special podcast, and then we'll bring you one. So I'm putting all the pressure now officially on Brian.
We'll do it from the airport as he shows up.
If you really want traffic, though, guys, if Brian could get an exclusive with Kim Jong-un, that would be awesome.
Yeah. We'll get his take on FC Cincinnati. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We appreciate you tuning into the Memorial Day United States Men's National Team special. We appreciate our guest, of course, Stars and Stripes. Check it out. I think that's all we have for you this week. Catch you next time.